Good afternoon. My name is Zahid. So today I'll be presenting our work on laterally inherently thin lead silicon heterojunction TV cell. So my presentation will answer most of the questions that came at the end of the last session. So in my presentation I'll talk about the motivation behind the work. I'll introduce you the lead cell concept. I'll present some simulation study and also cell performance of the fabricated cell. And finally, I'll summarize my talk and give some future direction. So over here, you can see like four state-of-the-art cell with their highest cell efficiency. On the top left, so this is categorized in terms of passivation and also the material used, the configuration that is used. So these two, they use thermal oxide passivation layer, and these two use amorphous silicon passivation layer, and these are standard front and back contact solar cell, and these are like both contact at the back solar cell. So one thing you can notice that most of the cells, they have reported cell efficiency close to 25%, but if you look at the hit cell, which had like record cell efficiency for heterojunction cell for a long time, they are basically suffering significantly from short circuit current. And the reason for that is the amorphous silicon layer, the doped amorphous silicon and intrinsic amorphous silicon layer that we put on top, it absorbs significantly, and since the mobility in amorphous silicon is pretty low, you can't collect the carrier that much. So that ends up producing like parasitic absorption. So we want to get rid of that, and we want to take the advantage of amorphous silicon, so provide a passivation scheme that uses all low temperature processing, but it doesn't have any it has less or no parasitic absorption. So that's why we came up with this passivation scheme that David Berchet just mentioned. We named it like facile grown or easy grown native oxide and PECVD silicon nitride. So we take a crystalline silicon wafer, we put 1 nanometer of thin oxide layer. You can grow it either by leaving the sample in the atmosphere. You can chemically grow it using Pirana solution or nitric acid. You can also grow it using ozone and ambient. And we reported a passivation quality which is comparable to the most maximum passivation quality reported for other passivation schemes. So if you look at over here, this is surface recombination velocity for thermal oxide and PECVD amorphous silicon, which is close to like 2.5. But for most other passivation schemes, the SRV, the lower the SRV, better the passivation quality. So for the most passivation scheme, the passivation quality in terms of SRV is close to 10 centimeter per second. So the best passivation quality that we reported, that comes to 8 centimeter per second. So in terms of passivation quality, we are comparable, at least from a solar cell performance point of view, to the most the state-of-the-art result for other passivation schemes. And we also integrated this passivation scheme to fabricate back contact crystalline amorphous silicon heterojunction cell. And we reported a cell efficiency of 16.7% for untextured wafer, and they're close to optimum cell design parameter, but we haven't optimized amorphous silicon for this cell concept yet. Then we kind of try to figure out like how much contribution is coming from the parasitic absorption. So in this graph, you can see it shows amount of parasitic absorption in terms of light intensity, absorption in silicon, and parasitic absorption as a percentage of total absorption in the silicon. So you can see if you use 280 micron of silicon and ITO and amorphous silicon, then your parasitic absorption is around 9.2%. If you reduce the silicon substrate, the parasitic absorption goes a bit up because you have less absorption in the silicon. Now, for 280 micrometer silicon and PCB oxide silicon nitride, and with our thinness oxide layer, the parasitic absorption is 0.17%, and even for 280 micron silicon, this is like negligible compared to the ITO and amorphous silicon. So then we are trying to work on a cell concept that uses all low temperature processing, and it doesn't have any parasitic absorption. The other advantage that we came up with is it doesn't have any ITO. And besides, since the cell configuration, the lid cell configuration, you can have it bifacial. So how the lid cell works is you take this crystalline silicon substrate, you put thin amorphous silicon, then PCB silicon nitride, front and back. Then we create selective opening for the doped amorphous silicon layer. So on top it should be a p-type amorphous silicon, at the bottom it should be n-type amorphous silicon. And then just wherever we have our doped region, on top we have the metal gate. So now what's happening, the light that you're putting on top of the sample, it doesn't see the amorphous silicon, so it doesn't have that parasitic absorption anymore. So again, we try to optimize the cell design using centroids, and there are two parameters mainly that we vary, is how much coverage will we use for the doped amorphous silicon or the metal layer, and what should be the finger spacing between these two fingers. And based on the simulation result, we see that, and we realize if we increase the fractional coverage, you're basically improving the fill factor because you're collecting carriers better. But on the other hand, if you increase the fractional coverage, since you're having more shadowing, your JSC will go down. And similarly, if you see the overall efficiency in terms of fractional coverage and pitch, then you can see for a fractional coverage of 5% and pitch of 75 micrometer, you get a maximum cell efficiency based on the simulation close to like 24.4 of that percent. So we use these optimum design based on simulation, and we design our mask and the fabricated cell. And the cell efficiency, as always, your simulation gives you better result than your observed one. So we get a cell efficiency of 30.6% for untextured wafer. By the way, for the simulation, we consider textured wafer. And this is the IV characteristics of the best cell that we got. The interesting thing is we got a VOC close to like 66 millivolt, which is pretty comparable. It's better than a American cell, which should be. The more interesting part, if you look at the EQE measurement, you can see at least the best cell that we have better blue response than the 24.7% hit cell that is reported in the literature. But just to make it more clear, this is normalized EQE, so to make it more comparable, we should increase the efficiency further. And if we texture the surface, our EQE will be more flat, so we are expecting better cell performance from the lid cell. So in summary, we propose a novel lid cell concept. For the proof of cell concept, we demonstrated a cell efficiency of 30.6%. We have shown the better blue response compared to the hit cell, and if we incorporate textured front surface and optimize amorphous silicon, then we're expecting better cell performance from the lid cell. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for your time.
Yeah. Do you actually have an enhancement in the blue there? If you look at the EQE curves when they're not normalized, if you go back 2 slides.
No, EQE.
Yeah, sorry, EQE. Yeah. If we were looking at those not normalized, would you still see? Do you actually have a higher EQE than?
The thing is, our cell is not textured, so the EQE for the maximum EQE that they will get definitely less than that because our overall efficiency is less. So we have to normalize it to compare like to some extent.
Yeah, I want to just follow on because that's a pretty strong statement. And I would say yes, you do have an enhancement no matter what, unless based on your efficiency that you were quoting earlier. So this one is not a bifacial cell; it's a front surface, one side cell.
Yes, this is my
Actually, not it's just that you had the simulations of the bifacial surface before. This is coming back, I guess. It's the same approach as that we did before, and then which is good. Nice paper, it's not that nice result. And in this case, it's like the shape of the UE is quite different. That's quite different in the infrared, and also the whole part, close to the 700 to 800 part, which is like 600. Is that just due to the different fabrication steps and what you were talking about improvement in your conclusion, or do you want to explain a bit more on that side? Because you can just tune your you can tune your that it's more improved, even with silicon. Depending on how your cell is drawn.
Yeah.
But
So
it's definitely less than the infrared.
Exactly.
I'd like to know why.
So once you texture your surface, you have more broader, like your EQE. My experience is your EQE is kind of follow your reflectivity pattern. So even if you, I don't have it, but if I can show it, but if you
measure reflectivity.
exactly. If you see the reflectivity, like for our cells, since it is flat, the reflectivity for the blue and infrared is more. So that means you're not transferring those photons into your substrate and you're not absorbing them. That's why your EQE is there. So if we texture our surface, definitely what call the UV and infrared, they should go like more up.
And you're planning to do that. That's what you're saying.
Everyone tries to do that. Yeah.
Can I have a phone?
Yes.
For your Centaurus modeling,
Yeah.
Can you go back to the slide where you're showing that where you left the
Yeah.
So what part of Centaurus, which package did you use for the modeling?
Centaurus, like the standard one, but only.
Yeah, but it has many modules. So that's why I'm asking.
So we like Centaurus device. That's the fundamental one. That's right. So we use Centaurus device, and at that time they used to have one module called EPI, but they don't have it anymore. But you can use we call a Centaurus device editor to define the device and Centaurus device to simulate it. So only thing that's different, like to simulate solar cell, you have to define what are the wavelength that you're using, what is the intensity for the particular wavelength. So the optical part that you have to write, but you don't need to need any more modules for that one.
Is there other question? That will thank you.